We wouldn't diagnose children. We would diagnose the homes that they come from. Every black child should be reading for an hour every day. Every day they should be reading for an hour. The holiest hour in your home is sustained silent reading hour, where every baby from preschool to the mother and father and grandparents should have reading material in their hands, and everybody should be reading, because when you read, 4 things happen. When your child reads, they increase their working vocabulary. When your child reads, they increase their knowledge of general facts and information. When your child reads, they improve their ability to write. And when they read, they improve their ability to speak. So when will your child need to learn how to read, need to know how to write, need to know about the world and how it operates, and need to have a grade level vernacular? When they take the Georgia state assessment, when they take the South Carolina state assessment, when they take the Florida state assessment. The reason black children are falling behind whites and Asian children is because they're not reading as much as whites and Asian children. The average Asian child spends 25 hours a week studying outside of school. The average middle-class white child spends 12 to 15 hours a week studying outside of school, and the average inner-city black child spends about 45 minutes a week studying outside of school. We could talk racism all day, but brothers and sisters, we have to talk about black laziness and black apathy and black discontent. Brothers and sisters, they're turning black people into a permanent underclass with our support, with our help. Parents, listen. Parents, listen to me. Whenever the school calls you for a meeting, never go by yourself. Always take somebody with you so you have a witness to the crime. Too many of you show up to the schoolhouse by yourself. You should never do that. Mother, take the father or another brother.
Can you hold this real quick?
Brothers, take the mother or another sister. Never go alone.
Make sure it's on here.
Because schools have a bad habit of lying on black parents and lying on your children, and the only way you can prove the lie is to have a witness. Never sign paperwork that you don't understand. Too often black parents are signing documents that the school is pushing in front of you without even reading the document. Why would you sign something that you didn't even read?
It's like you always told me, man.
Never sign a release of information document, brothers and sisters. Never give the school permission to talk about your child behind your back without you being present. There's a form called release of information that they love to give to our parents and say, if you sign this, we can talk to the pediatrician. We don't have to bother you. If you sign this, we can talk to the probation officer. We can talk to the social worker. We don't need to bother you. Can you sign this release of information? Never sign it. You tell the school, if you need to talk to the pediatrician, I will schedule a conference call. You tell the school, if you need to talk to the social worker, we can have an interagency meeting. But under no circumstances do you give them permission to talk about your child or collect data on your child behind your back. Next point. If you don't believe in crack for children, if you wouldn't give your child some crack, then why would you give your child some Ritalin? If you wouldn't give your child some crack, why would you give your child some Adderall? If you wouldn't give your child some crack, why are you giving your child Concerta? Do you not know that Ritalin, Adderall, Concerta, these drugs are only one molecule away from crack cocaine that's locking black men up by the millions? Ritalin is a drug. Concerta is a drug. You don't give your children drugs. They kill their brains. These drugs can cause suicidal thoughts, homicidal thoughts, organ failure. These drugs can cause schizophrenia, psychosis, heart attack, stroke, bone problems, blood problems, sexual dysfunction, and infertility. There's a group of white men suing the pharmaceutical company right now because they developed breasts from the estrogen in the ADHD medications. And what is ADHD anyway? Nothing but a drug company scam to make billions of dollars off of black boys whose fathers are no longer in the house. We get ADD in 1980. We get ADHD in 1987. The same decade, America dropped off crack and started mass incarcerating black males. They started doping up the black boy in school and doping up the black father out of school the same time.
Yes, sir.
But I want to tell you this, so you can never say you never heard me say it before. If you get your child an ADHD evaluation, and the school finds out your child was diagnosed with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, and you refuse to medicate that child, I'm telling you right now, they're going to call Child Protective Services on you, and the social worker is going to threaten you to either give your child the medication or they're going to confiscate all your babies. Black parents are losing their children by the thousands all across this country because you will not listen. And you will not listen when I told you, don't get them tested for ADHD. If they get the label, they can force the dope. If they get the label, they can force the dope. And when they come to take your children away, they don't just take one child. They take every child in the home. Remember this. America can't force you to put your child on drugs, but they can force you to keep them on drugs. America can't force you to put your child in special ed, but they can force you to keep your child in special education. Brothers and sisters, please stay away from ADHD. It is nothing but ain't no daddy at home disorder. It is nothing but artificial diet at home disorder. Before you come talk to me about ADHD, talk to me about how much sugar your children consume on a daily basis. Talk to me about how much caffeine your children consume on a daily basis. Talk to me about how much high fructose corn syrup that your children consume on a daily basis. The reason they're so hyper is because you're allowing them to consume too much sugar. This is not a psychiatric problem. This is a nutrition problem. And you can solve it yourself. But the problem with so many of our parents is you are addicted to sugar as much as your children are. You cannot perform a successful sugar detox because you need the Pepsi. You need the Breyers ice cream. You need the potato chips. And because you are addicted to sugar, your children are also relegated to be sugar addicts. Brothers and sisters, the learning disability is an opinion. I'm going to say it again. The learning disability is an opinion. There is no blood test. There is no urine sample. There is no x-ray. There is no MRI. There is no CAT scan that can prove your child has a reading disability or a math disability. If you disagree, prove to me your child got a reading disability. He don't. You know what he really has? I don't feel like learning how to read disability. Do you know what your daughter has? I don't feel like learning how to do algebra disability. Our children are suffering from apathetic levels of laziness and disinterest. And it's because black parents are no longer making their children do their best. Black parents have allowed our children to become lazy and shiftless and to undervalue their academics, and now is not the time for that. Because if you've been paying attention, America is upgrading every other non-white group over and above black people. Before Barack Obama became president, black people were the priority minority in America. You are no longer the priority minority. Everybody and everybody's issues is more important than yours. You don't come before nobody. And part of this is your fault. Because when Some of our leaders told you that when we fight, we should fight only for black people. You didn't listen. When they told you the civil rights bill should only be for black people, you didn't listen. They told you when we fight for better schools, we should only fight for black people, but you didn't listen. You said you had to fight for everybody. You said you had to speak for everybody. You said you had to struggle for everybody. So guess what has happened in America now? Everybody else has benefited more from everything you died for. Everybody else has benefited more from everything you struggled for, and none of those groups, not a single one, has come back to repay black people for the sacrifice we made on their behalf. So I'm saying this. Going forward, we can respect everybody else and we can wish everybody else well. But Dr. Umar Johnson will be fighting for black people only. Dr. Umar Johnson will be struggling for black people only. Yes. Dr. Umar Johnson will be advocating for black people only. Yeah. If you don't learn how to put yourself first, you are guaranteed to finish last. And don't let nobody tell you that that's racism. Yes, black people cannot possibly be racist. And let me explain to you exactly why black people cannot be racist. Racism is a group system where you disadvantage and deny an entire group of people resources and opportunities because of the color of their skin. In order for black people to be racist, you have to have the power and the ability and the resources to control what another group does. You don't have the ability to take jobs from white people. You don't have the ability to take homes from Asians. You don't have the ability to deny citizenship to Mexicans. So how can you be a racist? You can't be.
That's true.
But people will play mind games on you if you don't understand your history. People will play mind games on you if you suffer from religious insecurities. I don't know if you've been paying attention, brothers and sisters, but there's a movement in this country right now that wants to eliminate the teaching of slavery forever from America's public schools. Texas, and I believe Arizona or Minnesota, a few other states that you have to double check. They're passing laws right now making it illegal to teach children about slavery. That's why I'm concerned about Juneteenth becoming a holiday the day before yesterday. Because I can see the federalization of Juneteenth as an opportunity for the government to co-opt the narrative so they can control what our children understand Juneteenth to have been. I said they may have given us a holiday so they can kill the holiday. Woo! Like they killed Dr. King Day, like they killed Black History Month. When is the last time you had a decent Black History Month? When I was a little kid, there were Black History Month programs all 28 days. You lucky if you get one now. I remember when I was a kid, on Dr. King Day, we learned about Dr. King. Now we just go up and pick up trash. I remember once upon a time when Kwanzaa was meaningful, and now look. Because you let the government come in and take it over. Brothers and sisters, as I prepare to wrap up, not only are they trying to take slavery out of the history books of America, they also want to eliminate the teacher's ability to teach about racism in the classroom. So let me get this right. While the federal government is approving Juneteenth as a federal holiday, which means nothing for us because it's been a holiday, but while they're celebrating Juneteenth, they're letting them take slavery out the books. They're letting them take racism out the books. What good is a federal Juneteenth holiday if you're not going to teach black children the truth?
Right, yeah.
But let me say this as I leave. It's not Joe Biden's job to teach black kids where they come from.
No.
The movement to put black history in the schools was not supported by Dr. Umar, and I want to tell you why. The reason I did not support the movement for black history in America's schools is because I consider the history of African people to be too important to be taught to black children by white people. I believe that the black community should teach its own children their history. You don't see Chinese begging the government to teach Chinese their history. You don't see Mexicans begging the government to teach Mexican children their history. But why are black people begging white people to teach black kids about Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey and George Washington Carver and the Honorable Frederick Douglass and Elijah Muhammad and Ida B. Wells and Patrice Lumumba and Kwame Nkrumah? Why do you want your oppressor to tell your children who they are?
Tell them.
You got a church on every other corner. And if you got a church on every other corner, you should have a black history class on every other corner. And if you got a church on every other corner, you should have a black market on every other corner. And if you got a church on every other corner, you should have a bank on every other corner, and a hospital on every other corner, and a shipping industry on every other corner, and a manufacturing plant on every other corner.
Yes, sir.
Brothers and sisters, I love and respect all religion, but I got a problem with any religious leader who tells me I gotta die in order to experience heaven. If the white man can have his heaven on earth, I'm gonna have mine. And if the Chinese can have his heaven on earth, I'm gonna have mine. And if the Arab can have his heaven on earth, I'm gonna have mine, or I'm gonna die trying. Brothers and sisters, as I leave you, I want to give you Dr. Umar's cell number in case you ever got to reach me about your children. If you ever have a question about education or mental health, or they're trying to throw your child out the school or label your child, or they need special ed but not getting what they want, here's my number for you right now. I'll repeat it twice. 215-989-9858. 215-989-9858. So after today, whether you're here from Georgia, or whether you came from California, or Texas, or Detroit, or Chicago, or New York, after today, any black parent who has ever heard my voice, if you ever need help with your child, I better never hear you say you didn't know who to turn to because Dr. Umar gave you his personal cell phone number. Brothers and sisters, I close with a quote. And I'll be in Hartford, Connecticut next Saturday, Springford, Massachusetts next Sunday, Louisville, Kentucky, August 14th for Garvey Day, Macon, Georgia, August the 15th, New York City, October 2nd, Black Parent Boot Camp, Miami, Florida, July the 24th, Houston, Texas, July the 10th. Frederick Douglass said, if there is no struggle, there is no progress. Those who profess the faith of freedom and depreciate agitation are like men who want crops without plowing up the ground. They want rain but can't stand the thunder or the lightning. They want the ocean but they're scared of the awful roar of the waters. Frederick Douglass said this struggle we have might be moral or physical, or it might be both moral and physical, but it must be a struggle. He said for 20 years, turn that music off. Do not disrespect me. Frederick Douglass said, for 20 years, I prayed on my knees to God for freedom. But the good Lord gave me no freedom until I got up off my knees and start praying with my feet. He said, if you want respect from white people, why do you look for pity? The man who pities you will never respect you. If the man who respects you has no need for pity. Power concedes nothing without a demand. It never did and it never will. The most honorable Marcus Garvey said, without confidence in yourself, African people, you are twice defeated in the race of life. Without confidence, you are twice defeated in the race of life. But with confidence, you have won even before you have started. Don't be upset at the rain. In our culture, the rain means that the ancestors are planting a new seed for a new day, a new beginning, a new revolution, and a new victory. Black power, brothers and sisters.